Viz Media just announced that they're going to be doing the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind manga in hardcovers starting next summer. Stay tuned, we'll talk about it. So I'm a big JoJo's fan. I've been a big JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan for years, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you might know that because I mention it a lot. Since back in, I think 2005 is when it first started being published in the US. They started with the paperback editions of Part 3, Stardust Crusaders. And of course they started with 3 because it's the most popular part, and in the US we already had the original OVA series had come out, and people were familiar with the series from video games and stuff like that. So it was the first one that they published, and I immediately fell for it. I loved the idea, I loved the stands, I loved the characters, but I was always curious about, you know, the previous parts because they never came to the US. And at the time, back in 2005, I wasn't savvy enough online to figure out where I could read it, and it wasn't as popularly available, so I never wound up reading the original parts, you know, Part 1 and 2, Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency, and I never went past Part 3. I collected all the paperbacks as they came out. It took several years for them to finally release everything, and I think it originally started doing 4 volumes a year, then they moved to 3 volumes a year, and I don't know, the schedule was all over the place, but eventually they did publish all of it. And there was like no hope that we would ever get any more JoJo's because it wasn't that popular. It wasn't so popular that it would warrant Viz to release more. Until, years down the line, eventually the anime would start up in Japan and prove to be extremely popular. And they started to publish the hardcover editions based on the JoJonium editions from Japan, and those got published in English. So for the first time, we wound up getting the English adaptation of Part 1, which was in 3 of these hardcovers, and Part 2, Battle Tendency, which wound up in 4 of these hardcovers. And then we also got new hardcover editions of Part 3. So I no longer have the paperback editions of Part 3 because I opted for the 10 hardcovers instead. And these are beautiful volumes. They're, you know, oversized compared to the standard volume of manga. They collect multiple volumes in one volume. So originally Part 3, for instance, I think was 17 volumes long, and it's collected across 10 volumes. Now, the JoJonium editions in Japan did not continue past Part 3, so there was a big question in the air about whether or not they were going to continue releasing past Part 3 and start doing English editions of Diamond is Unbreakable. And it seemed, you know, obviously they have to because the anime is still going and it's very popular. Diamond is Unbreakable was extremely popular in the anime. And of course, we did get the Diamond is Unbreakable manga coming out in America. And now they're doing a different hardcover edition, not based exactly on anything that was in Japan. There was a 2-in-1 kind of omnibus edition that came out in Japan, and that's kind of what we have here, is these hardcover 2-in-1 volumes of Diamond is Unbreakable. Now, I have Volume 6 here. Volume 7 is due out at the beginning of November, so actually next week at this point, and this will be wrapped up across 9 2-in-1 volumes, as originally Diamond is Unbreakable was a 18-volume run. So Volume 9 of Diamond is Unbreakable comes out in May of 2021. The series has been releasing on a quarterly schedule, so 4 volumes a year every 3 months. Now, they just dropped the announcement, I think today or yesterday, last night, I don't know exactly when it was, of Part 5, Golden Wind, or Oriovento, is getting an English translation, and they said it will be in hardcover editions. Now, I have to assume that they're going to be releasing the... I'm going to make a couple of assumptions, and I think they're pretty safe assumptions. I have to assume they're going to be releasing these in 2-in-1 volumes. And the second big assumption is that they're going to continue the quarterly releases of JoJo. They're going to continue releasing every 3 months. So if that's true, and they've said it's going to be the summer of 2021, then we should see the first volume of Golden Wind in English in August of next year, 2021. Now, I'm really excited. I loved Golden Wind. It's a fun part of the manga. They're all fun. I love JoJo's. Every single part, even the least popular part, Part 6, arguably. I still like that one quite a bit as well. And Part 5, the anime was great, has, you know, great animation and stuff. There's a lot of awesome characters in there. I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably already know that. So anyway, I'm really excited, and I've been really excited for this to happen, and I could just gush on and on and on about how excited I am for this, and to have it in these nice hardcover editions is also fantastic. So my question though is, once they do this, how long then is it going to take for us to get to each subsequent part? Now, let's assume that Viz is going to continue releasing JoJo, that they're not going to stop after part 5. Now, I say that because part 6 has not been animated yet. I think there are still plans to do this, and maybe things have been held up because of pandemic reasons or whatever the case may be, but I believe that, Stone Ocean will eventually get animated. It's just been quite a bit longer between parts 5 and 6 than we've been used to with the prior parts. I don't know if there's like licensing things that they're trying to go through, because there is a part in there that kind of deals with very, some stuff that's very similar to a huge company that exists in the US. So I don't know if there's some sort of issue there. I don't know if there would be or not, but whatever. So whatever the holdup is, let's say that they just continue to release the JoJo's hardcovers past part 5, and they go into part 6, and they don't take breaks, and they continue to do this in a quarterly fashion. So every 3 months we get a hardcover of JoJo. I'm also going to make the assumption, just for us to save time and for the sake of, making it easier, part 5 was originally 17 volumes, which doesn't break into half, obviously, as easy as part 4 did with 18 volumes. I'm going to just say, let's say they do 8 volumes for part 5, and either one of them is a 3-in-1, or they split one of the 17 volumes into 2 and do like a couple of 2.5 length hardcovers, just for the sake of argument. And the same thing would have to be true for part 6. So for the sake of making the math easier and for the sake of argument, let's say that they don't take any breaks between parts, that they continue a quarterly schedule, releasing one hardcover every 4 months. They continue to be 2-in-1 hardcovers, with the exception of, doing something with parts 5 and 6 to make sure that there is an even number, that we have 8 volumes of these hardcovers on each, if you get what I'm saying. And they just keep going. They keep going with it. So what would the timeline look like? So part 5, if there are 8 volumes, we're going to see this published from, and I have my notes to the side, that's why I keep looking to the side. So part 4 is going to end May of 2021. Part 5, if number 1 comes out, there's no breaks, like I said, we're going to assume that it comes out August 2021. And this would last 8 volumes. I keep putting up one hand. 8 volumes will complete in May of 2023. So it would take 2 years, basically, to get through that part. Part 6 would then start up in August, again, of 2023. So just 3 months after part 5 ends. And this would last to May of 2025. So we have the August to May deal going on. And I'm pretty sure that part 4 started in August of 2019. So, 2-year period starting from August going through May for part 4, part 5, and part 6. Actually, I take that back. Part 4 has 9 volumes, so it would have started May of 2019 and then lasted until May of 2021. So 8 volumes of 5. From August to May 2021 to 2023. Volume 6, 8 volumes, August 2023 to May 2025. Part 7, we finally get to part 7 in August of 2025. Now, part 7 was 24 volumes long. It was a longer part. The series had moved from, being a weekly series to being a monthly title, and it wound up being longer. 24 total volumes, so 2-in-1. Once again, we can do that evenly. 12 hardcover 2-in-1 volumes. It makes it a little easier. But this is going to last for 3 years, not for 2 years like the previous 2 parts, because it's that much longer. So 12 volumes of this 2-in-1 release, starting in August of 2025, that means that that's not going to end until May of 2028. We're almost in the 2030s at this point. So that means that part 8, JoJolion, we're not going to start at this rate until August of 2028. And right now, JoJolion is as long as part 7 was, as long as Steel Ball Run is. I think there's 24 physical volumes released, and there's more chapters after that. So if I'm wrong about that, someone's going to correct me. But let's just go with that. Let's just go with 12 volumes to say when it's going to get caught up to, when we in the US at this rate are going to be caught up to where Japan is right now. Just arbitrarily saying that they have 24 volumes of JoJolion at the moment, so 12 2-in-1 volumes for us to release in the US. 12 2-in-1 volumes of JoJolion will be released from August 2028 through May of 2031. So by that point, obviously, that is 10 years, a whole decade in the future, 10 and a half years really. 10 and a half years of, if JoJo keeps going on at this point and does not take a break, 10 years worth of monthly chapters, 10 and a half years, is 126 chapters of JoJo's. Now, this could be, I don't know what Araki's plan is. I don't know when JoJolion is planning on being ended. I'm like 2 or 3 chapters behind right now, so I have no idea exactly what's going on at the moment. So I don't know if it's about to come to a close or anything like that. I don't know if he plans on doing a part 9 after this. I don't know how far he plans to go with JoJo at all. But that's 126 additional monthly chapters, given that he takes no breaks from month to month, which he probably will, that would be released between now and 2031 in May. 126 chapters. If there are roughly 4 chapters per volume, which is pretty typical for a monthly series, let's just go with 4 to make the math easy. That's what, 41 or so volumes? Yeah, like 41 volumes worth of material. I'm doing the math here because it's funny. 41 additional volumes worth of material of JoJo's stuff. That would mean that he could wrap up part 8, and potentially, if a part 9 does happen and it continues to be as long as the previous parts have been, he could also wrap up part 9, and we could probably be in part 10 by the time that Viz Media, at the current rate that they're going, would catch up to where Japan is right now with 24 volumes of JoJolion. So we'd be at volume 24 of JoJolion, and there would still be like 40-something volumes worth of material beyond that we are still behind. So this is why I know a lot of times, it's a sensitive subject, but this is why I read JoJo's online, because I'm going to be 40 years old in, 2031 by the time that volume comes out. And if there's still more material, and that's like, what did I say, 40-something volumes worth, and there's only 4 volumes per year that we're releasing in the US, or that Viz is releasing in the US, then that is an additional 10 plus years of material. So I'd be 50 years old when that stuff comes out. That's why I read this online, because while I'm not saying that I don't imagine at 50 years old I'm gonna not be reading manga or something at that point, I guarantee for the rest of my life I will be, because I already have been for 20 years, and I've not slowed down at all. In fact, I've just picked up the pace. Anyway, point being, that's a lot of material. So we'll see what happens. I guess we'll come back to this video in 10 years and see how this has aged. But it would be fantastic if this continues at this pace, then awesome. But it would be fantastic if at some point they would speed up the release and maybe start doing monthly 2-in-1 volumes to kind of get us to a better pace. Because if they're doing monthly 2-in-1 volumes, if you can imagine that, then if they do a volume of Steel Ball Run, for instance, every single month, we would have that series finished within a year, and that would be fantastic. But I don't know what's planned to happen. I don't know what Viz is planning on doing. I don't even know if Viz is planning on doing part 6. I'm sure if the anime does happen, they'll continue doing it, but at the moment, my big concern is whether or not that's actually going to happen, which I hope it does, because part 6 is fine, but I just want them to get to Steel Ball Run, because I love Steel Ball Run. If you watched my favorite completed manga series video, Steel Ball Run was up there on that video, so I have very strong feelings about it. Anyway, this was just a fun video, kind of with me doing the math in my head about how long it would take to get caught up and how long it would take to get to JoJolion. So I hope this was enjoyed. I hope this was informative. If you're new to my channel, this is not the typical type of video. Usually I'm like talking about actual stories and not just random numbers in my head. If you've been around, I hope this was fun to watch. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.